Hey, good day everyone. Welcome to explicit tutorials again. My name is Vico, and from our last class we treated proteins, polysaccharides. Now today we are going to be treating lipids. Today we are going to be treating lipids. Now, what are lipids? Now, lipids are simply esters. Lipids are simply esters of alcohols. Lipids are simply esters of what? Alcohols. Now note, unlike proteins and carbohydrates that we have been treating, so far, lipids do not form polymers. They do not form polymers with each other. Now basically we can have two types. We can have the saturated and the unsaturated. Saturated and what? Unsaturated. Now the general formula for the saturated, is CnH2n plus 1 COOH. The general formula for the unsaturated is CnH2n minus 1 COOH. This is the general formula for the saturated, and this is the general formula for the what? Unsaturated. So basically we can have the saturated and the what? Unsaturated. Now let's take a look at some saturated sugars. Now let's take a look at capric acid. Now capric acid is the fat and oil from the word capric. Is the major fat and oil found in goats. Or we can also have butyric acid, the oil found in butter. Now we can have butyric to be butanoic acid, meaning we have C3H9COOH. C3H9COOH. Now this is what butyric acid. Is a saturated acid. Is a what? Saturated lipid. Now under the unsaturated, we can have this. This is an unsaturated fatty acid because it's CnH2n minus 1. This is H2n plus 1. If you put n equals to what? We put n equals to there, you have it. We'll have what we have here. Now, what are the functions of lipids? Now we know that carbohydrates are energy-giving foods. Yes, we know carbohydrates are energy-giving foods. Now, let's say we have 1 gram of a carbohydrate. Or let's say we have 1 gram of a carbohydrate. And we have also 1 gram of fat and oil of a lipid. 1 gram of a lipid. Now basically, 1 gram of a lipid will produce more energy than 1 gram of a carbohydrate. 1 gram of a lipid will produce what? More energy than what? 1 gram of a what? Carbohydrates. Now note that the body stores these lipids in the form of what? Fats and what? Oil. Body stores in the form of fats and oil. Now fats, they are solid at room temperature. Oil are what? They are liquid at what? Room temperature. So from fat and oil, from lipids, let's take a quick recap. I said lipids are what? Esters of what? Alcohols. Lipids are what? Esters of what? Alcohol. They are esters of alcohol. And I said that they can either be saturated or what? Unsaturated. Where I gave the formula for saturated to be CnH2n plus 1 COOH. And I gave the formula for unsaturated to be CnH2n minus 1 COOH. Now we can have different type of saturated. We can have the butyric acid, capric acid. There are many. Hexadecanoic acid, octadecanoic acid. There are many. Then under the unsaturated, we can have oleic acid and others. This C3H9COOH, I said it's saturated because it conforms to this formula. Then I said this is unsaturated because it would conform to this formula. And then I came to say that 1 gram of a lipid will produce more energy than what 1 gram of what a carbohydrate. Now remember that 1 calorie, just as a conversion factor that we know, is 1 calorie is equals to 4.18 what joules. So let's say if a carbohydrate, if 1 gram of a carbohydrate gives 1 calorie, then assumption 1 gram of a lipid should give about 10 times of this. So meaning 1 gram of a lipid naturally gives more energy than 1 gram of a what carbohydrate. Now we also have different lipids. We can also have cholesterol. Cholesterol is also what a form of lipid. It is a long chain of what of a lipid. Now cholesterol is a fat, and of course we have been told that cholesterol isn't useful for the human body because it coagulates inside the arteries, inside the blood vessels, causing restricting blood flow, so it can also be dangerous. But cholesterol is present in most fats. Cholesterol is present in most fats that we see. Most vegetable oil that consume nowadays, cholesterol is present in most of them. So that is it. That is basically it for lipids. Where I said lipids are esters of alcohol, then saturated, unsaturated. That is basically everything on lipids. For those in Uniben and Delsu. In case there's any other thing I did not add, or any other thing your professors in heaven wants to add, you can also tell me in the comment section, and I'll be sure to treat it. Okay, now basically let's take a quick review. I'm going to be taking a quick review, a very quick review, 5 minutes review. Okay, now in my last 2 classes, I remember saying monosaccharide can either be what 2 types of sugar. Now if you know this answer, you can pause the video here and answer it before answering the question. Now in case you don't know the answer, monosaccharides can either be what the aldo or the what keto or the keto sugar. Now if you are finding this surprising, you can go back and review my last 2 classes. You find the full explanation on this. Now I remember saying glucose is a what? Glucose is what sugar? If you know the answer, you can also pause here and check if you can know the answer. Glucose is what? Is it an aldo or a keto? Glucose, is it an aldo or a keto sugar? You are correct if you went for aldo sugar. Glucose is an what? It's an aldo sugar. You are correct if you went for what? Aldo sugar. Now I said monosaccharides, when they come together with the elimination, they come together by what type of bond? What type of bonds do monosaccharides come together in? What type of bond do they use to form? Well, you'll be correct if you went for glycosidic bonds. You're correct if you went for what? Glycosidic bonds. Correct if you went for glycosidic bonds. Now another question: when amino acids come together, what bonds do they form? Now the answer to this question is what? Peptide bonds. Peptide what? Bonds. Now as a challenge, how many of you can just boldly draw the structure of glucose? If you think you can do it, you can pause the video here and try drawing out the structure of glucose. Just try drawing out the structure of glucose. But for those of you that will not be able to do this, glucose, this is the structure of glucose. This is the structure of glucose. Now, for those of you that do it, congratulations. But for those of you that are having problems with it, this is the structure of what? Glucose. Now, if you are not having an idea, what this is, you can go back to my former previous classes. You will see the full diagram of glucose there. This is the what? Structure for what? Glucose. Now, what did I say? That why is this an aldo sugar? Why is this an aldo sugar? Now, this is an aldo sugar because of the presence of what? An aldoxy what? Group. Now, this presence of aldo sugar because of the presence of what? An aldoxy group. Now, the next question. Now, the next question is, what is the general formula for the amino acids? Now, the general formula for the amino acids is now remember I said that the name of the amino acid is dependent on what arrow is. Arrow can be just hydrogen, arrow can be an alkyl group, arrow can be an aryl group, arrow can be an aromatic compound. It depends on what arrow is. That's what will depend on the name of the what amino acids. Now I said if arrow is equal to hydrogen, which is the simplest amino acid, if arrow is equal to hydrogen, which is the simplest amino acid, which of the following will be the name of the acid? Will it be A, glutamic acid? Will it be B? Will it be B? Will it be lysine? Will it be glycine? Or will it be D? Will it be titine? Now, if arrow equals to H, which of the following will give the name of the amino acid? Will it be glutamic acid? Will it be lysine? Will it be glycine? Or will it be titine? Now, if you went for glutamic acid, you will be wrong. If you went for titine, you will be wrong. If you went for lysine, you will be wrong. The answer is what? Glycine. And note, glycine is the simplest what? Glycine is the what? Simplest amino acids. Now, if you have been answering my questions so far, you are doing well, meaning you have been following my classes. Then, now let's take another question. Now, I said saturated fat and oil. I said saturated fat and oil. What is their general formula? Saturated lipids. What is the general formula for saturated lipids? Now the answer is CnH2n plus 1 CO what? H. What is the general formula for unsaturated lipids? It will be CnH2n minus 1 COOH. Saturated what? Unsaturated. Saturated, unsaturated, saturated, unsaturated. Now, as another challenge now, what will be the keto name of the pentose sugar? Now, if n equals to 5 and they told you there is sugar with n equals to 5 and a keto sugar, give a name. What name will you give? What name will you give? Now, A, let me give options. Let's say A, we have dihydroxyacetone. Let's say B, we have fructose. Let's say C, we have ribulose. And let's say D, we have none of the above. Now, dihydroxyacetone is the ketone sugar for what? The triose. Fructose is the ketone sugar for the hexose. Then ribulose is the ketone sugar for the pentose. So if you went for C, you'll be very what? Correct. You went for C, you'll be very correct. Now, another question. Lactose. Lactose is a combination of what? Lactose is a combination of what? A, is it fructose plus fructose? B, is it glucose plus glucose? C, is it galactose plus fructose? D, is it glucose plus galactose? If you went for A, of course, you'll be very wrong. If you went for B, you'll also be very wrong. If you went for C, you'll be wrong. Then D, lactose is a combination of what? Glucose and what? Galactose. Lactose is a combination of what? Glucose and what? Galactose. Now, in case you have any other question, you can always put it in the comment section and we'll do it to answer it. Don't forget, this is exclusive tutorials. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed. I am Iko. See you in my next class. Thank you.